Okay, welcome back. In this video we're going to talk about how I managed to get this shot of Tony's house in a single exposure. Alright, so I've got four main points on how I managed to capture the shot. One of them was the composition. Now when I got to Tony's place, I had a look around, knew what I was going to do by looking at where his house was. I knew where the Milky Way was going to be, so I knew exactly where I wanted to be for this particular shot. Okay, so camera settings. I was using my EOS R and I was using my Sigma 20mm f1.4 lens. I had the camera set at f1.8. I was using a 2500 ISO. I was using a 20-second shutter speed, and I had my Kelvin dialed in at about 4000 on my Kelvin meter. Alright, so why did I use those settings? Reason for the f1.8, I'd stop the lens down just a little bit, basically to get rid of a little bit of the coma that happens at the outside fringes of the frame when you're taking a shot like this with that type of lens. Shutter speed, I was taking that at 20 seconds. That has a lot to do with the 500 rule. We're going to go into that in a little bit more depth later on, but 20 seconds using that lens, those particular settings gave me the best image quality possible without getting too much trailing stars. We were using 2500 ISO. I was doing that because the lens is such a good lens. It was relatively wide open, so it doesn't need to be cranked up in the ISO because I don't need to allow too much light into the lens in this particular case because of how much it already can capture. Also, Tony's house had the lights on, so I didn't want the highlights of the lights on in his windows to blow out. Alright, so in Kelvin meter was set at 4000. I do this because I like my image to look a little bit more to the blue side rather than to be all into sort of the warmer, yellower tones. Okay, so in summary, we've got four main things that we need to get these shots and get them as nice and as crystal as we can. You need to understand your composition, where the Milky Way is going to be, how you're going to line up everything and get it how you want it to look at. The way I do it is really the way I do it, but you might like doing things a little bit differently. You might end up with different results, and that's all good, no problems. These are just really some guidelines in that of how I go about doing it to help you in your travels and obviously trying to get the same sorts of things.